everybody, welcome back to my channel. That's right, I homeschool. I'm Mrs. T, and today we are going to be doing a flip through and a review of the book Mathematical Reasoning Beginning Level 1. My preschooler and I just finished this book and we loved it, spoiler alert. So I want to give you as much detail about it as possible so you can see if it's a good fit for your family. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. All right, so the Critical Thinking Company is the company who created this book. I did end up purchasing it from their website directly, and I will be linking that down below. It's not an affiliate link, it's just where I bought the book with my money. This is part of the Mathematical Reasoning series, which goes from pre-K to 9th grade currently. So I don't know if they have plans to increase it, but I will tell you, pre-K wise, it worked out really well. It's meant to be a consumable book, but at the pre-K level, this first one, it was really easy to make it non-consumable. We didn't do any sort of writing in it. We simply sat on the couch whenever we felt like doing it. We weren't even consistent about it at first. And we did these problems together. We called them our cozy math problems, and we literally just pulled a blanket on top of us, cuddled up, and went through it front to back. I think as you get older, you might want to actually consume them, but it was great for this beginning level 1. I'll go ahead and put the cost on the screen because I forgot to look it up while I was recording this, but for the amount of time that we got in this book and the quality of conversations that we had and how much he got out of it, it was definitely worth it. It was so good, you guys. Critical Thinking Company, one of the things that they do is they really focus on your child being able to solve problems, not through memorizing things necessarily, but learning how to analyze the question. And they do this by repetition. So for example, they cover shapes in this book. And rather than just point to the triangle, they ask you questions that help your child learn to identify triangles through basically understanding the why. So they'll say, like, point to the shape with 3 corners, and your child will count the corners. And at first, if your child is anything like mine, he sat there on every single shape, counting every single corner, but by the end, it was like, which shape has 3 corners? He could easily, he knew it. He knew it through that repetition, but it also helped him identify, like, we've had these conversations, like, well, what makes a triangle a triangle? He's like, well, it's got 3 corners and 3 sides. And it's been really good because it also, they have like a variety of different types of triangles that they show, for example. So he got a good exposure. Like, a triangle isn't always one of those perfect triangles, right? It has larger angles and smaller angles and all that, different orientations. So that was really cool. Now let's go ahead and share with you guys inside the book. So total, we are looking at about 230-ish pages, and every page has a series of questions, and these are going to be questions that you and your child are going to work through together. They cover a number of different topics, and I'm going to just read these out while I show you guys the list on the screen. But it's going to be covering counting, which is going from numbers 0 to 5 only in this book. They do cover a little bit of fractions near the end. They have a little bit of language where that's going to be talking about, the identifying things through like descriptions. So size, what is the tallest, what is the shortest, etc. We have some manipulatives in here. We did not do the manipulatives. Those were really easy to modify if you didn't want to consume or if you didn't have those manipulatives on hand. Matching, ordering, patterns, shapes, and subtraction. And they didn't put it in here, but addition as well. They definitely did some addition. So anyway, it covers a lot. It covers a lot, and it really gave a good foundation for my child. So let's just give an example of what a type of problem might be near the beginning of the book to the middle to the end. So let's go ahead and just take a look at, we'll go to the very beginning and look at page 3. So here you can see we are basically asking your child to count aloud the animals in each picture. So at the very beginning, this is actually, for at least for my child, we were able to do it, but it was very much so my involvement. I was the one pointing to the cow, and he was saying 1, and I pointed out the numeral, and we moved on. 1, 2, 1, 2. But it was just basic counting practice. You can see it's very, very simple. Going up a couple of pages here, we'll go to page 20. You can see how they introduce a rectangle. So you say like, okay, here's a rectangle, and it's not only just identifying the shape, it is identifying that it has 4 straight sides, 4 corners. And then they go through and they count how many red rectangles are in each grouping of pictures. They do even cover in this book, you guys, which I thought was really well done, is they cover that squares are special rectangles, and they even ask, like, through some drilling, you know, how many rectangles including squares, how many rectangles excluding. So you're kind of also starting to get him to identify that squares are their own shape, but they're also really unique rectangles, and that is very good to know. I feel like a lot of people may not even recognize that now. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So we get a little bit further here. This is page 48. Here you're starting to answer some basic I'm gonna call them word problems in a way. So you're getting some questions. So how many toys are beside the girl? And your child is really working on their prepositions and what that means. So here we go. This is probably some of that language inclusion. On the one next to it, page 49, your child is going to be drawing segments to connect the same shapes in each group. Of course, this is really easy to just have them, you know, bring their finger from one shape to the next. But it's shape recognition, and they throw in different colors, and your child is supposed to just ignore, in this case, the colors. All right, let's go ahead and go even farther, you guys. We are going to be going to page 97 here. This is where your child is going to start pointing to pictures that have, well, not starting, but this is an example of when your child is going to be pointing to pictures that have like 3 items in it. And by this time, my child was still mostly counting. He had recognized that, like, he could look at the picture of the bats, for example, and say, well, I know that's not 3, that's 2. But he was still counting 3 balls, 3 ladybugs, 3 balls again, you know, 4 bats. He'd have to count those numbers. By the end, he didn't. He'd be able to just look at the same page and recognize, oh, 3, 3, 3, without any sort of counting, which was great. All right, now the next one I want to show you is this really cool example of what they call Can You Find Me? Now this is a whole series that comes, they have books that they publish that are just focused on these kind of problems, but I really like that they have them sprinkled in throughout this book. All right, so let's take a look at this. This one is on page 111, so you're about halfway-ish throughout this book. So basically, you are getting a riddle, and your child is going to be looking at these pictures and trying to identify the object that they are talking about. So in this case, they're saying they have 3 sides, my lines are straight, but to find me, you must wait, count my corners, 1, 2, 3. These 3 clues lead you to me. And these were really great. At the very beginning, you guys, my child and I we would go through line by line, and he would eliminate pictures that don't meet that criteria for each line. But by the end, he was solving them and talking it through himself, which was so good. It was so good. We really, really liked that one. And then I want to show you as well, here we go. We're going to get onto some basic subtraction that we're covering. This is page 224. So you say, this is how many pennies are in my bank. I lost 2 of them. I had him cover 2 pennies. How many are left? 3. By the end of the next page, which was very similar, he did not even cover it. He was able to just look at the picture and say, oh, 1 dog remaining. All right, so that is basically it. That's the inside. I gotta say, you guys, I loved this book. We are so excited to start the next one. And, you know, it was just really nice. We had some really good conversations about math, and there was like definitely a sense of understanding, but also a sense of accomplishment in him. He was very proud when he got answers correct. And you know, we didn't, like I was saying at the beginning, we weren't really consistent at first. We just kind of did it when the mood kind of struck. And near the end, he was actually asking for it. So we are definitely going to be moving into the next book. He actually asked me if there's another one or if we just start this one over. But we're going to be moving into beginning level 2. So be prepared to hear, not soon, but once we finish that one, or at least make some progress through it, I'll give you guys a review on that. But that is it. I hope this was helpful. Comment down below. Let me know if you guys have used mathematical reasoning and what you thought. I could definitely see where this is a good fit for some kids, maybe not for others who might need to be a little bit more manipulative heavy, but I'm really curious to see how this worked out for other people. All right, you guys, that is it. Thank you so much again, and I will talk to you soon. You have a good one. Bye.